waiau, no runga I te tikanga. He renga renga, no roto I te raukura. Ko takura kura, he mana wanui. Ki te ao tari raukura. Oh, 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 tari raukura. E ria ke rā ngā raukura o tō uraua ko te witi. Urunga I te maunga o tēnā o tātou o Taranaki. Ko taku raukura rā e hoa mai, e toku manua nui ki te ao.
Nau mai e te motu kia ki te a koe I a Taranaki e tū mai nei. E runga e raro whai mai e uta e tai nuku mai, neke mai ki tēnei hōtaka o tātou ko Ngā Rangatira o Te Apōpō. Kia tukuna tira te mi ki te wā I ngaro mō na manaakitanga I runga I a tātou katoa. No reira ngā mate o te wā haere atu rā e oki. A rātou ki rātou tātou ngā wai otanga o rātou tēnā koutou tēnā tātou. A tēnā tātou e te wānau nau mai ki tō tātou nei hōtaka a Ngā Rangatira o Te Apōpō, where a panel of emerging leaders share their thoughts on various kaupapa from our worldview, or their worldview, me ki. Tonight we have our taumata on. We're going to do a little bit of an introduction with our taumata. We're going to start over there at ki taku tua ine Linda, kei a koe te wā.
Tēnā tātou e te iwi, he raukura tēnei no te maunga tī ea, ko te atiawa iwi ki te manawa, ka rere kauwana ki ngā pai maunga o Tararua, ko ngā tika umunu ki Wairarapa te iwi, ka wakatopa atu rā ki ngā pui, ko rā iri te tangata, tairawa atu ki ngā ti kuri, ko poho te are te hapu, ko pōhurihanga te tupuna, ko Linda Waru-Lackner tēnei, mauri ora ki a tātou.
Ka pai, kei a koe Kazi, mata?
Te rara tātou e te whānau tira ngā iwi o tō tātou tau e ke maunga. Ko Matapaepae Urwin tēnei e mihi kautāna ki o koutou. Awarere ke tēnei mōku. I o te anora he taniwha tēnei I ahu mai ngā awa o Waitara o Waitōtara o Manganui e tai atu rā ki a te awa o Waikato.
Tukuna atu rā te rā ka kōrero ki a koe Sis Raewyn.
Tēnā tātou katoa e te wānau. He uri tēnei me ki mai parininihi ki Waitōtara ki Taipake, ki te kāhui maunga, mai te kāhui maunga ki Tangaroa. Anō hoki he paranga oku ki te ure tārewa, he uri taniwha, he uri no hine kōrako, he te maiti o te kōhu. Ko Raewyn Maraki tōku ingoa, tēnā tātou.
Tēnā koe. Hoki atu ki a koe Wayne, Kasi Wayne.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ngā mihi nui ki a koutou te wānui. Ko Taranaki te maunga, mā taku hono ki oku tūpuna, ka hono au ki ngā iwi katoa Taranaki maunga. Ko Wayne Capper tōku ingoa. Kia ora, my name's Wayne. I'm calling in from Te Whenua Moimoia today, but my turanga waiwai is ki Pau o Paritutu, Onuku Taipari. Kia ora.
Kia ora mai e te Kazi. Mi ki a koe, I runga I tērā whenua, me ki rā, ko te pāpaka Māui, hoki mai ki a te pākau a te ika Māui, tēnā koe. O tino tēnā tātou e te taumata o maira I runga I tēnei o ngā taumata kōrero. Ko Selwyn Lackner-Priest tēnei, o Waitara whānui e atu rā ki koutou katoa e te taumata, o tinoa ki a koutou katoa e ari taringa mai, e wakarongo mai, koutou katoa e mātaki mai ana ki tō tātenei ōtaka nei rātemi. We're going to kick into it straight away, whānei, no muck-arounds here. Just so we're all aware, we've got pātai that we're going to be asking our taumata here, for those whānau who have been watching our hōtaka over the last few weeks, over the last month or so. It's as you all know, our hōtaka takes a different spin every time it comes on, and questions are asked in a different way, and that's just trying to keep up with play, Neki. So, pātai tuatai, I'm going to skip right over there to you, Kasi Wayne, and whānau will know that there's been a pānui put out, and no, I'm not speaking on behalf of any marae or on behalf of the marae, but there are renovations going on, and renovations have gone on. You will all know there was that fund that came out, I think it was the Provincial Growth Fund, that whānau were given for each marae to refurbish and rebuild and all that sort of kōrero. So, Kasi Wayne, going along those lines of the kōrero or that kaupapa, do you believe that the wairua is the same once it's been refurbished? Chuck your mute off, Kazi.
Chat, I'm on now, I think. Yeah, most definitely the wairua won't change because of a change in the building scope or whatever. The wairua still remains, in my view. The wairua has been there since the time our ancestors first began living there. So I don't think the wairua would change as such. If anything, I suppose, like anything with a new lease of life, there's an added extra element of wairua that would, I feel, that would come into play once those buildings are refurbished. It's like anything. It's like us as human beings. I suppose every now and then we need a good horoi to cleanse ourselves. And I suppose I kind of look at it in that way in terms of the marae. It's just getting a cleanse of sorts. But that wairua will always still be there.
Kia ora, tēnā koe. Me huri ki a koe, Raewyn. Are you of the same mindset? Do you think the wairua is still the same when we come through and renovate and refurbish our whare nui? And whare kai and all our whare?
Ai, taituko ngā kōrero. Currently, so my mum, she is the chairperson of our marae, and we're currently looking at refurbishing our warepaku, wild kura marae. And we've done a few renovations around the pā at the moment, and from what I can tell in sense of wairua, he wairua hou. It's not that the old wairua has gone, it still remains, but it's remained within our elders. But with these new whare, he wairua hou. So all the new akoranga and all the new type of tikanga that's been established for these different whare, yeah, if that makes sense. He wairua hou. Yeah. Koia. Taku rimahiniti.
Kia ora. Linda, do you think, and I'm speaking in terms of rangatai here, when rangatai start to see our whare starts getting refurbished, renovated, we get new whare, do you think that gives them a bit of a sense of pride as rangatai when they see that happening?
I would hope so. I would definitely hope so. I'm not going to say that I'm a rangatahi. Hey, I mean, I'm sure I fit in that category too. But for me, if I was to walk up and see that the renovations are happening, yeah, I would feel, I would feel content about the idea, knowing that our whare is still going to house us in the way that we want it to house us, but it's going to fit that mind frame of a rangatai, you know what I mean? Like these days, it's going to fit the these days kind of whakaaro. So, yeah, ana.
Kia ora. My cuz, considering you have been there for a while, and I mean a while, and you have seen our kuia and Koroa go through their time in Tamawahine, let's say, in Tamawahine, and there's been a new whānui been put out from the trustees saying that, you know, Tamawahine is going to get all done up. It's going to get a new facelift. It's been a long time coming. She's just celebrated her 100th year. Do you think it'll enhance the wairua there at Tamawahine?
So, pātai pai tērā, cousin. Definitely. Ka tautoko ai ngā kōrero Raewyn Maraki Wayne, that new beginning, that ahakoa, you know, te tawito o ngā whare, he oranga no tōna. This is, I just see it as, you know, with ko Tamawahine, just speaking of her, 100 years is a massive legacy, but this is another opportunity for the next generation, ngā uri whakatipu, ngā uri whakaheke, to actually find their space as well. Like, I understand the legacies and all that, and all the whānau wanting to keep that intact and alive, but I also see that cleansing, what Wayne was talking about, is actually really important, because yes, as human, we go through that all the time, you know, like people call it a 7-year itch, but that growth is important, and moving with times, obviously, and following to that, even though sometimes we don't want to. But, you know, I think, hei te mutunga mai o te rā, he rā noa pōpō, but te haumarutanga o te tangata is important, very important, and looking after our people, but being able to create another legacy is also important. But if you know, learning from the past and taking that kōrero to the future, koe nā te tumu o ngā kōrero, don't forget the past, take the past into the future, and then everyone's winning. Koe nā tāku.
Kia ora. Raewyn, do you think we should move back to the marae as a whānau?
Do I think we should move to the marae as a whānau? Well, that's a bit of a tough one. I'm in two mindsets at the moment. I'm like, hard out, yes. Hard, yes, we should. But then I'm also like, well, no, because some cousins don't even go to the pa now. Why? Like, why would they come to the marae? If they can't come to the marae now, why should they move back there? So yeah, but in two mindsets. But I'm so for us creating some type of papakainga around our marae. I know a few here in the south, like Pariroa, we still have active papakainga there. And they're real ahika, you know, and I feel like some of the cousins that do want to go back to the marae, well, cool, are you going to be that ahika? Are you going to be all good with the responsibilities, you know, the haipapa that occur when you are ahika? And some cousins think it's easy as until they get into those roles, and then they realise, oh, okay, that's why auntie and uncle are a certain way. That's why auntie and uncle are just straight maro type people who need to get that mahi done. No A, B, and C, not A all the way to R, Z, E, Q, whatever. So yeah, do I think we should all move back as a wānau to the marae? If our wānau are ready for the responsibilities and to take on the haipapa of the marae. Yeah.
Kia ora. Beautiful. Linda, if there was another lockdown, do you think a bubble should be created at the marae?
Do I think a bubble should be created at the marae? Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, what safer place than the marae? You're all together, you're in one place, everything is there. There's no need to go out unless you're getting shopping. But yeah, just to make my answer a bit tiny, yes, absolutely, I do.
Kia ora. bear with me, whānau, and I know it's kind of quite rapid, the questions coming out, but Kasi Wayne, without being contentious about the kaupapa of COVID, of course, and whānau strongly feel about it, but just as in our worldview of our kaupapa and our thoughts and processes about various kaupapa, do you believe that you should require a passport a vax passport to go to the marae? You're on mute, Kazi.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's a hard one, eh? This whole vaccine thing has really put my mind in a spin, if I'm being honest. On, there's just so many mixed messages that have been thrown around in the social media. I think it's confusing a lot of our whānau on what's right and what's not. So in terms of the marae, I think probably the key thing is I'm hearing a lot of people talking about their own freedoms in that recently, but I think us as Māori, we don't think of ourselves, we think of everyone else. And so, like, if it's for the betterment of us as a collective, as Māori, and it's safe and going to protect all of us, then yes, I think so. But then there's that other side of me that I'm just a little bit concerned with the amount of security and surveillance that's going on, and the to me, some of it feels like a continuation of colonization, and so those ramifications and those things that you can't go here because of this. I just get really concerned about that, and the way that we're heading as a world. So yeah, I just wanted to add that part on, because there's a lot of mixed messages and mixed feelings that I have about that, if I'm being really honest. But as long as we're thinking of everyone and not ourselves, that's the most important thing.
Kia ora. Tēnā koe, Kazi. My cousin Mata, we went through a bit of a hard whack, and we lost someone quite special to all of us. And without going too far into the kaupapa, of course, we had to put restrictions to work with COVID, and while whānau thought it was a good mahi, some whānau didn't think it should happen. Do you think we could operate in that way from now on? It's not a kōrero about COVID and the tangi that happened. The question is, do you think we've got the capacity, or do you think that we should be operating in that way from now on?
Yeah, pātai pai tira, because I've since that time I have spoken to quite a few people about it, and for me, I strongly believe everybody has a place on the marae. Koina noiho. How we as a whānau, and I mean no matter who it is, work together to make sure that can be achieved. It may not be achieved in a sense that everyone is happy, but for me, the marae belongs to everybody. It's the one place that we can call home. And, in that particular instance, we had a lot of dynamics, but it comes down to communication. Who's passing on the kōrero? If you pass it on in a negative sense, in a negative way, obviously it's going to be received like that. If you're that puka mohi who's sitting at home who, just goes for it, come to the park, come and have a kōrero. Like, everybody knows who's at the marae, because like cousin Raewyn said, don't want to be going and make, be ahika and you don't actually know the job. Be prepared for the hard yards and the hard questions. So I suppose it comes down to communication, and if we communicate in a positive manner, because at the end of the day, the marae belongs to all of us, and it's out the safety for all of us. But again, not forgetting that the marae belongs to us all. And we belong to the marae. There is a space for every single person, and no one is more important than anybody else. Just working together, sitting down, having a conversation like this, we can achieve anything. That's that's koina taka whakaaro. The marae is
Kia ora.
ours, and we are the marae. Without the people, it's just pieces of wood in a whenua. But yeah, haumarutanga mo te tangata.
Absolutely, 100%. And yes, yeah, the pā is home. You know, or the marae, sorry. The marae is home for a lot of us who are there regularly, and you know, it becomes a pivotal moment or a pivotal part of our life, and it creates a massive part of our learning as tamariki, as mokopuna, as rangatai. Even when we're older now, you know, kaumātua, we're all still learning there, and we learn different things. He o whakaaro, Kazi Wayne, about tamariki running around in the whare.
Tamariki running around in the whare. Oh, I'm sure we've all done it, haven't we? We've all done
Tēnā koe.
it. I suppose it would depend on what you determine running around in the whare. So for me, I think it's about learning, eh? Sometimes to learn, you've got to do something, you know, find out the hard way from the aunties or the uncles. But I think if it's, you know, if it's some of our young rangatahi do what our tamariki, our rangatahi, they are more pure than any of us, and they just, you know, they do what feels right for them at the time. That's their energy, that's their emotion, and so I feel like we there's a time and a space for it. I mean, you don't just let the tamariki rangatahi run wild, I don't think, when you know, depending on the kaupapa that's going on within the whare. But I think to be mindful that they are tamariki, and we were all there once before, as long as they're nurtured and they're taught the reasons behind why not to run in the whare nui and all that kind of stuff, then ka pai. Yeah.
Kia ora. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we've all jumped on the mattresses, eh, Kazi? We've all jumped on the mattresses. We've all had that one kuia tell us off or nearly whack us with the walking stick. Actually, we had one up here at Muru that did whack us with the walking stick. But, you know, we need it, I guess. You know, you can't tell me that you haven't done kino things at the pā, because that was all about growing up at the pā. It was home. It was home. And it's just Linda. You know, to put a bit of a twist on it, you know, we already know that it's home. We treat it like our own home. There are certain rules about the place, but it's different for us because we feel home. What are your thoughts on activities on the pā that some people frown upon? You know, you hear people jumping up and down in the whare, you know, and I'm not talking maybe we've got a wānanga going on. A lot of people disagree with it, but I'm a person who likes to see laughter in the whare, because it's had so much whānau in there, and there's so much grief in those whare that sometimes it needs a bit of a blowout, sis? So what are your thoughts on it? Are you in favour of having activities like that, fun activities at the pā?
I mean, if it can whakapiki wairua, then absolutely. I know from experience that I've been through, been to a lot of tangihanga at our marae. And to be honest, I actually we come from a whānau who are not always quite serious when it comes to kaupapa, like tangihanga. Tikanga wise, very serious. We adhere to all tikanga. But when the time calls for it and there is a bit of humour, there's nothing wrong with a bit of humour. You know, we have ministers, we have apōtoro and all that who also, you know, they have humour. They bring humour into the whare during karakia. Because of the nature of the kaupapa, it doesn't always have to be a sad occasion. And I'm only speaking of tangihanga. There's always space and room for humour And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, I watched my brother stand up and do his thing, and he's quite often a funny guy. So, coming from the family
Koe
that I
tērā.
come from, koe. Coming from the family that I come from, humor is a healing process and a healing part of grieving. You know, laughing. So I personally don't frown upon it. It's sometimes it's needed.
Kia ora. Raewyn, what are your thoughts about that?
I'm just pondering what activities we're referring to.
We're talking like games inside the whare, you know, a lot of whānau do the old, don't run around in the whare and all that sort of stuff. And kei te pai tēnā,
Right.
we're talking sort of having games and sorts of things inside the whare,
Okay,
as opposed to outside.
Yes, I agree. He rongoa te katakata. I think there's just time and place. You know, like there's a time for to be torotika and aro ki te kaupapa, and then there's a time to let loose and have a rage and a big fat party, however you party. In regards to activities in the warenui, if I just look at taiporohenui, for example, in our warenui we do everything. Our kids practice kapahaka, so there's a bit of running around in there. I make them scream their lungs right out, so there's a bit of screaming and, you know, waiata going on. So there's aroha, we're just camping at the moment, and I just got interrupted, sorry. Anywho, so yeah, I just believe that, yeah, there's a time and place for everything. Kia ora.
Kia ora. My cuz, speaking of activities in the whare, ia o whakaaro, e whāna ki te moi wainu o moi tāne ki roto te whare.
Taua pātai. Well, I was like listening to cousin Raewyn and I was thinking, you know, that just reminds me of te whare tapere and te ramo mo awatanga. And then tēnei pātai is very left. When you think about it, I te waiora nā mātou tipuna, there was nowhere else to go. That was definitely home. They didn't just walk in, that was the kainga. So I get what you mean when you frown upon it, and that's probably because, again, Kazi Wayne touched on it, it's our colonised mind that tells us that that's actually paru. But it also is a special thing, because if that thing doesn't happen, well, you know, there won't be no uri. But in this context, yeah, that's a different, that question, that patai. I'm like blushing, I think. We've all seen it or heard it, and it happens, and it's a natural thing. But yeah, I think that it is actually our colonized mind that frowns upon it. It's like, well, actually, we don't live at the marae anymore 24/7. You do have a bedroom and a bed to go home to. But I do understand that it's very important for us as people to procreate. I think the whakaaro comes down to the people who are doing the act. That's all I'm going to say.
Sis, what do you reckon?
About that question?
You know.
You know, e kaha wa kai anau kia whalamata. You know, ko ngā tūpuna era, and when you asked that question, that was the first thing I thought of was, I'm pretty sure our tūpuna used to do that. You know, ka pehe rātou, you walk to a whare e next minute. But it was normal then. Now it's not. And yes, ka tika because of colonisation. So, I don't. I'm not gonna say I've never seen it. I'm gonna be very, very honest, e te whānau. Yes, yep. I mean, you walk in, you notice what's happening, and then you walk straight out and then act like nothing happened after that. So, just to keep their dignity intact and their mana intact, you don't say a thing. But yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, yeah, there is. I mean, it's a bit frowned upon, but then really, I mean, if that's what they want to do, with these days now, we have bushes, so haere humiri if you want to. Just being honest, e te whānau. But yeah, I mean, if they're children in the whare, kao, not yet, not until they've grown up and understand the whole act when there's tamariki in the whare. But I mean, if it's just, and you got to do what you got to do, I'm not saying no, but hey, yeah.
Your whakaaro, Raewyn?
Well, tautoko i ngā kōrero a mata me rāua ko Linda. He momo I kitea I ngā rā o mua. E tika ana. He mahi a ngā mātua tupuna tērā. But if we're talking nowadays, and yes, it probably is my colonised mind. If we're talking nowadays, then hell no, cuz. No. You take those dirty-ass mattresses you just did your deed on, take them home, buy them some new ones, and some sheets. Yahuwah. Nah, I'm kidding. But no, if I'm talking now, kare he take I noia nei. We don't live on the pa, in the Warenui, and yeah, ain't no one around here getting toe mowed anymore. That's when it really happened. And I'm not into that either. So, yeah. But nowadays, I don't think so. We have our own bedrooms and our own whare, or whatever. Go to the waripaku if that's the case. Or gori. Just, not in the Warenui anymore. We can move with the times. Just my opinion.
Kia ora. Me wai o te whakapapa ki runga I ngā mattresses me ki. Linda, hea ao whakaaro e pāna ki te kaupapa o ngā whakaahua I iri mai I ngā pātu o te whare. What are your thoughts on replacing those whakaahua on our walls with a automatic one, let's say a big screen?
Ooh, as beautiful as our whakaahua are, again, moving with the times, it would be beneficial to have them automatically digitalized. Nothing breaks except for the technology, but nothing breaks. Everybody is acknowledged, and when you think about it, what is it? Moving with the times now, we all are on our devices. We are all on technology. So, adapting to their āhuatanga as well. And I've said in past hui, such as this, Māori people, we're quite adaptable. We're good at it. We're good at adapting to the times. We're good at adapting to what's going on in our surroundings. So to have it in digitalized, there's nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. I don't have a problem with it. I'd prefer to, you know, and even if it's a gigantic photo, at least we'll be able to see a big, huge array of photos going by. As much as the whakairi pātū, that's still beautiful too, because it helps decorate our whare as well with our loved ones. So I don't have a problem with the digitalized at all, but I don't have a problem with having our wakahua whakairi ana ki ngā pātū o te whare.
Kia ora.
You know, nā runga i te mea he wairua rereke hoki tō tērā. Koira ngā āhuatanga o te iwi, ei. Ka kawe mate, ka tuku tētahi whakahua, anei rā te taonga. So, yeah,
That's right.
I'm probably in both, yeah, just in between.
That's right, because when we, let's say we have Maui Pōmare and we go and take kawe mate on, we accept kawe mate. And photos are brought in, and with, you know, we're mindful the wall's running out of space, and all that sort of thing, you know, whānau biggie in different sizes, you know. Tazi Wayne, if we weren't mindful of having, if we weren't acceptive of having a TV screen with revolving photos on there instead of real photos, do you think that the photo sizes should be a uniform size rather than one massive one and then one small one and all things like that?
No, not necessarily. I think, you know, a photo should be shown as it is. So, like, you know, whether you got to crop it in or pull it out, that to me, that's taking away the essence of the photo. So to have it as its natural state, its natural size, I feel is the right way it should be. Yeah, you know what it's like. Sometimes when you do, like, I've done like a paper or something or an assignment, and you have a photo and you try and fit it in, and you like, it might be the maunga or something, you try and like squeeze it in, and as soon as you take it out of shape, it's not right. So I think, yeah, it's natural, in its natural form is the best way.
Kia ora. Yeah, I must admit, sometimes when you do that, it does make the photo or the image ugly, and next minute you get sort of a long ass face and all that sort of stuff, or you're looking a bit more plump than what we usually do. I know this camera's making me look a bit more plump than what I usually am. But yeah, so it is something that's coming across. So, you know, whānau, I noticed that some kawe mate, you don't even have to walk in with a photo, and bang, the taumata or the paepae already knows you're going to kawe that mate on because they already know. And some whānau feel like it's a part of letting go, or it's a part of the grieving process when they bring their whakahua in, especially on tangihanga. So on tangihanga, some whānau do kawe their mate in with it or without a photo, but I know some whānau feel like it's helping with the grief when they put their photo down by their loved one who they've come to see. He ao whakaro e pāna ki tērā kaupapa, Raewyn. Do you think that's a part of the grieving process, and that we should still maintain it, or we should look forward to adapting it in a way, maybe digitizing it?
Yes, I do believe that it is a huge part of the grieving process. I can't necessarily say that I know what that mamae feels like. However, this year, losing our uncle, and being a part of the whole process was something that I realised that, you know, some of us take tangihanga quite lightly. We don't really actually understand the full what it actually means to be in, you know, in mourning. Like in Ngā Roru, for example, they have so many different kawa down there that and you don't see people practicing it. But during Uncle's tangi, and I'm referring to Uncle Archie, during his whole tangihanga, there were so many different lots of tikanga and kawa that were seen throughout the 3 days or 4 days. And there was that part too. We had wānau that came in and they kawe their mate. We had Korohurangi's daughters come in and kawe his mate so that they could all go together. I do think that it's important. In regards to the photos and looking at digitalising them, I do think that's definitely a conversation that needs to start happening. As you said, that there's not enough room on our walls. There literally isn't. If I look at Waiokura Paroko, we're choka full up in there. And, ko tērā te wāhi o mō era momo. And there's no way that we want to go take them over into the big house too, because they all deserve to be in Paroko. So, yeah, in regards to digitalising it, I definitely think that these are conversations that need to happen within wānau, with those that are on marae committees, because this is futuristic, eh? We're thinking 50 years down the track. And, because it's the circle of life, everyone's photo's going to be there one day. So, yeah, these are definitely conversations that we're going to need to be happening. At this stage, I don't think that we're quite ready for it. But I feel like in maybe 10 years' time, the ball will start rolling. Yeah, koira.
Kia ora. Kia ora, yeah, hard out. My cuz, when we're talking about in tautoko ngā kōrero, because tangihanga are taken lightly and they're not taken like as they really should be, and some whānau really don't know the purpose of it and what it's set to provide for the whānau pani. Do you think by operating over something like Zoom or StreamYard, Becky, we're on StreamYard whānau, at a tangihanga, do you think that serves the same purpose? Now, people can't get here because they're either overseas or they're in lockdown and all those sorts of restrictions. They can't come past they can't get to us, or they can't get to the marae or the whare where the tūpāpaku is. But for some reason, the only way to be a part of it is to Zoom or video or FaceTime. And all that. Do you think it serves the same purpose as actually being there?
Carl, that's just that. There will, as Māori, the kupu Māori is natural, right? So for us, we need to connect. That's why I think a lot of our Māori people I know that is why a lot of our Māori find restrictions difficult as well, being disconnected, because we're always connected. That's our whakapapa tells us we're connected. This is from creation. Zoom and any form of connection will never be as good as kanohi ki te kanohi. And with the whole tangihanga process, I completely support ngā kōrero o Raewyn, because a lot of things have changed. The world changes, it evolves, and how we maintain the tikanga and the kawa, na mai a matua tupuna, but making it also relevant to how our world is. Ko kia ki te matinga o tōku māma, tu atua tai ko ki te nei au I tētai e kapo o tōna tangihanga. That was the first time I'd ever seen a camera in the wharenui at a tangihanga. And it was never shone on her. And that was 10 years ago. And now it's kind of the norm. So at that time, obviously, my mum's from Waikato, and they are very staunch, even going back to the photos. And some of my whare back up there, the only people that adorn the walls are the kingitanga and the kings and the queen. Koina noi hoa. You are part of the bigger scheme of things, but you are the mokopuna, you are the imprint of your tupuna. You don't need a photo. You are of that person who has passed away. But, you know, each area is completely different. Ngā Roto is definitely different. You know, I just look, Uncle Archie's perfect example of tikanga and kawa that some of us have never ever seen. And how I suppose it comes down to each iwi, each marae, each hapu. They have that mana, not anyone else. But yeah, that for me, it's kind of like Zoom and this will never ever replace human touch. Hey, like we'll have no uri if there was no human touch. But our connection as Māori is stronger because of obviously our beliefs, how we've been brought up. Yeah, koe ngā noiho.
Kia ora. Yeah, absolutely. And considering COVID has been upon us for a little while, we've seen a massive influx of services being provided or cultural kaupapa being conducted over streaming, much like this, much like our karakia every Sunday, which all of our iwi take part in. And we've seen the influx because we've all been locked away. We've all been sort of locked down. COVID's been the reason. So do you think, Sis, that COVID, and please bear in mind we've got COVID, we've got Delta, and we've got that Omicron is now in Christchurch, you know, ki ngā pānui, ngā kārere, Omicron is here in Christchurch. Do you think that it's detrimental to kawa?
Whio mai te pātai anō?
Do you think because those things are here now, those māuiui, those sicknesses, the mate uruta, do you think they are detrimental to kawa in the way that we operate kawa?
I'll just put a comment in the thing and the comment.
Do you think that they it has an opportunity to ruin what we know as kawa?
Thank you. Thank
you. So if I may just add on, and we must all understand that tikanga is now people have differences in opinion. But what I'm asking is, you know, there's a difference between tikanga and there's a difference between kawa, and there's a difference between us adapting different tikanga to fit where we are right now in COVID. What does that mean for kawa though?
So it definitely it does have an impact on our kawa, simply because of the isolation, the non-contact. You know, it's a bit different in the process of a pōhiri. You're not so close together, but then again, when it comes to whānau actually being outside of the rohewa, wherever the māuiuitanga is, and bringing them onto the marae, that impacts the kawa and the process that you're about to uphold. And, you know, I mean, speaking from experience, and again, with our kaupapa that we had recently went through, it definitely was one of a heartbreaking experience to actually be a part of. You know, when we have this mate uruta, you know, it was real just to see the separation, the division through the ope, the manuhiri, the whānau, you know, everything. It was really heartbreaking to see. And, you know, just having all that process in your mind at the time when you're meant to uphold kawa and tikanga at that time, knowing full well that it's not the same. Yeah, it was heart-wrenching to be a part Oh, to actually see that. So yeah, I definitely feel that there's a negative impact on when it comes to our tikanga and kawa and the viruses that have come through. And again, it's just how we adapt to that, eh? It's how we actually adapt to it. But to see it firsthand, yeah, I fully believe that yes, it has somewhat of a negative impact on our tikanga and kawa. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Yeah, because I'm thinking, I'm not saying that this is kawa o tikanga or whatever it is. Um, you remember when the swine flu or was it the bird flu came over and at the parkas we had one auntie going around, you can't do the hongi, you can't kiss because of the swine flu or the bird flu. Now it's a very real thing. It's a very real thing for us, and we're all like, I don't know what your feelings are about this, whānau, but I mean, I feel uncomfortable going like that to my auntie, I feel uncomfortable greeting whanaunga by giving them a kiss with a mask on. To me, it feels like a little bit of disrespect towards them. But then again, that's the way the world is. Do you have those sorts of troubles, Kazi Wayne? Do you feel those sorts of barriers on you really want to go in and do it the way we usually do?
Yeah. Like sometimes you just naturally forget, eh? Like you're like, hey, going for the big hug or the kiss or the hongi, and then oh shit, that's right. You got to kind of remember where you're at, and it's obviously it's more like I was saying earlier, it's more of a protection for others, for our kuia, our koro, our elders, like just ensuring that you're keeping them safe as much as you want to, embrace them. It's I suppose it's a safety aspect, but it is hard because it's natural for us, right? It's just that's just how we are. We embrace one another. When you don't see whānau for a long time, it's that whole feeling of a hongi or a hug is, it's a special thing. That's why we do it, right? That life's essence, that sharing of breath. So yeah, it's difficult. It's a crazy world at the moment, man. Fire up.
Hard out. Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I know the whānau here remembers that sometimes you're going for a bit of a hongi with auntie or nana, and you're doing the old, not sure whether to kiss her or to give her a hongi, and she's doing this, trying to get you to hongi here. And now, well, I mean, you walk down the street and you want to either go for hi, it gets a bit uncomfortable. Do you feel those? Do you get those problems, Raewyn?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely anti-hugger, so I'm down for the awhies. And he kaya kua ho, my kids love awhi all the time. But I'm also that one that will call out, "Oi, are you practicing COVID?
Yeah.
Like, can I come in for a laugh or what?" And then it's awkward. But honestly, whānau, it is what it is now. Like, we have to learn to live with what's going on in this world. It's a pandemic. Our tupuna went through a pandemic. My great-grandfather was a 11-year-old boy during the influenza pandemic who had to bury his people in mass burials. So, and that was 100 and something years ago or something, and now I'm third, fourth generation after that pandemic, and now we're living in a pandemic. So, it's learning to adapt to the times and straight up call out to the kazi. Are they practicing COVID, or are we in for a laugh, or can we get into a hongi? Like, let's just not wait till we get face to face to be awkward. Let's just call it out right there and then. As I see you, Mata, can I give you a laugh? Yeah, cuz, me, that's us, yeah, I just think that we need to start thinking more in that manner too, so that we don't have to create these, oh, hey, cuz. Like, shut up, we've got some aunties down in Patia who are straight like, nope. You know, there we go. We're practicing COVID around here. And then we've got some aunties who are straight into the love. So, yeah, that's just how I think about it. Good luck.
Yeah, hard. I've got some aunties that do the old, no, I'm your auntie. We're kissing. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry about it. But yeah, I mean, it's handy as, like, you get into these awkward little situations and then you just, all I know is you see the whānau that work at the hospital and you're automatically going like this. Yeah, or doing the kaumunu tukemata. So yeah, it is a massive part for us. Well, not a massive part, but it's a massive change for us. But yeah, we need to look forward to the future, I guess, and start adapting in ways. I mean, maybe I'll create a T-shirt that says I'm a hugger, or I'm a hongia, or I'm a kisser, or I'm a, don't come near me. And I think, at the end of the day, whānau, if they've got a mask on, which they should be because it's required out in public, but if they've got a mask on, then automatically you're thinking, oh, well, yeah. But if you got those two ones and no mask, no, I'm double vaxxed. Hey, I don't got to wear it. And all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's changing for us, and it's changing hard and fast. So, yeah, we're on, whānau, we're on. But, well, tata ki te mutu o tō tātou nei hōtaka, we're going to go around and we're not going to see the whānau until next year again. This is our last hōtaka for the year, and we'll be back next year. But what we might do is just shoot around quickly to our taumata, and then we'll come back here and I'll close us off. But it's been awesome having you here. Thank you for putting up with my pātai. I know some were a bit off the rail and some were a bit R18 and, and all that sort of stuff. But who knows unless you talk about it, eh? Who knows? So, yeah, we'll chuck the mic out to you fellas up there. We'll start with you, Sis Linda. Kia ora.
Oh, tēnā tātou, tēnā tātou. I mean, this platform gives a lot of future leaders the opportunity to have their own opinion in a safe environment. So, I mean, what an awesome platform we have right now. He oi. I just want to just share a bit of arohai out to the whānau. For the holidays, it's whānau. Just keep safe. Wash your hands. If you're sick, stay home. Create your own little bubble to keep yourself and others safe. But definitely aroha to all our whānau, and also mere kirihi me te ki tātou, me te tauhou Māori. Oh, so aroha mai, it's not Māori, I wish it was. Tauhou Pākehā. Kia koutou katoa. Ai, tēnā tātou.
Kia koe, Raewyn.
Ai, tautoko ngā kōrero a Linda. E tika ana me mihi ki tēnei kaupapa. Kazi mata koutou ko te korimako, Selwyn, whakahaere ana e arahi ana I tēnei taumata kōrero, tēnei te mihi kia koutou katoa. E tika ana he mihi ki tātou katoa ngā uri o te maunga, koutou e wakarongo ana, etahi e waka wā ana ki te kāinga. Ki te hia koutou ki te kōrero, anei te taumata, whakai mai. Koutou ngā pakeke e mātakitaki ana, e whakarongo ana, tēnā koutou, ngā tātarakihi o te maunga, kia hānea nea tō koutou hararai, kia miri, kia koa, Miri pohu tikawa ki a tātou katoa anō ngā mihi o te tauhou Pākehā. Mai i taku whānau e noho hararai ana ki roto i te whenua o Ngāti Mutunga, tēnā koutou Ngāti Mutunga. E wakaruru hau nei i taku whānau i tēnei wā o te krihimete. Nā reira, huri noa tō tātou taumata kōrero, tēnā koutou.
Tēnā koe. Kasi Wayne.
Kia ora e te whānau. Yeah, firstly, I just obviously being the last show, I just want to acknowledge those that have passed this year, and just take a moment to obviously think of those that have left us, but that are still here with us. So I just want to acknowledge them. But yeah, thank you for this awesome platform. Mata te kore mako Sel and all the whānau at the back that put this kind of stuff together. It's really awesome and empowering just to create a space where we can just kōrero. You know, sometimes I feel like there's a lot of set structures in these type of forums, but to have a place just to chat is good, because that's where the realness comes out. Not at the huis, not at the wānanga a little bit, but just in general kōrero. Just being able to share, eh? So yeah, thank you for this platform. It's really, really awesome. Good to spend time with you today. Good to see beautiful faces of home while me and my son over here in Australia. So it's awesome to tune in. Yeah, really appreciate the call out to jump on. So thank you. Yeah, and just to everyone back home. Over Christmas, enjoy your time with your whānau. Reflect on the year that's been. Our whānau have been very resilient and strong through what's been a challenging time this year. And so I think we all need to, pay kudos to ourselves and to our families and to each other. And so hug your loved ones. Ask them first, though. Hey, Raewyn, ask them first. But give them a big hug and a mihi over Christmas. Enjoy each other's company. And, look forward to seeing you all when we get home. Kia ora.
Cheers, Cassie. Up to you, Mike.
Tēnā tātou. E tūtahi ake me mihi atu ki a te kore mako te manu nei, e tiaki nei i enei momo a hōtaka, ki a tipene nā nei whakaai, ke whakahaere tēnei kaupapa mā mātou. E tautoko ai ana i ngā kōrero, ataku cousin Wayne, me mihi poroporo aki ki ngā matehu o te wā. E hoki atu rā koutou ki te pai o maumahara ki te okukitanga o ngā mātua tupuna. Huri no kia tātou, ngā waihotanga o rātou mā. Nōku te whiwhi kia noho ki runga i tēnei taumata o te pōnei. Ko au te tek me ki mo te hōtaka nei. Nōku te whiwhi. Hihi anō nōku kia tuku te mihi atu kia koe, taku cousin Selwyn, nau anō i arahi i tēnei kaupapa i te pōnei. Kōrua ko taku tupuna a tauke, kōrua i wakahaere tēnei kaupapa i a rua wiki, te patapātai hia ngā pātai uaua. Hei aha, hei kōrero mā te whatumanawa. But yeah, big ups to everyone who has jumped on Ngā Rangatira o Te Apōpō on this platform and have shared their whakaro. It's been amazing to be a part of. And to all the whānau that are coming to jump on next year. And you fellas who have already been on actually set the standard because our list has gotten a bit longer. But I look forward to seeing your fellas' beautiful faces again on the show. To my cousin Wayne, I'm sure is that Ko next to you. Go hard, my good boy. You're amazing. You got a hi, Ko. Everyone at home's cheering for you. Gonna see you in the NRL soon. Super proud of you, super stoked. Kaui a te maunga ki te pāpaka nui a Maui. And my beautiful cousin Raewyn, it's so good to see you in May when we go to Raro. And congratulations on your new mai. Just got to throw it out there. Kōrua ko Sunny. Haere atu ana kōrua ki o Tautai. Ki te kura whakapūmau. Hari ko ana te ngākau. But yeah, ki te whānau e mātaki tēnei i te pō. I tēnei pō miri puhutakawa kia koutou, kia haumaru enei rā oki. Make sure you spend time with your family. Don't work too much. And as Kazi Wayne said, we're going to farewell this future, this year, and and kōkiri wakamua into 2022. And together would be, yeah. Koina takukupu ka waihotia nei e au. Kia ora.
Sure. Well, tēnā tātou e te wānau. Thank you, ao taumata, for that. As tuatai I kia matua tīpene, e te rangatira, nei rātam I kia koe, o tinoa kia koutou e te pōari o te korimako o Taranaki, koutou katoa e te reo irirangi o te korimako o Taranaki me I must say never once did I ever think I'll be streaming live for a radio station, so, you know, even though I'm a bit hako and I'm a bit of a hako fella, so, yeah. Well, mā koe wakakapi tō tātane wāanga. Ngā tira me ki te wā I ngaro moana mana ki tanga I runga I a tātou katoa. Kia no o aumaru e koutou, kia no o aumaru e tātou I ngā rangi kei te haere mai. Merry Christmas, Miri Pō Tukawa, Happy New Year to you all. Ka kite. Kia ora.
Ka kite.